What's good, everybody? It is the Big Time Sports Podcast with me, your host, Perci Garner, and we have a special guest in the studio today. But before we get to our special guest, I just want to remind you guys, it's YouTube. We got to say, like and subscribe. Our subscribers are growing, and part of that is because of the guests we have in here. The football season was big for us. Now we're focusing on basketball, and his school just beat my school, unfortunately, but we're not here to talk about that. And also leave some feedback. If there's someone else, that you want to have on the show, I'll look at it. So leave it down there. Obviously, leave us a rating, a 5-star rating on the your audio podcast app of choice. And let's get into it. I don't want to waste any more time. So today, and apologize to my guests, but I feel like I can't skip over a lot of these things. So this gentleman we have in studio is, he doesn't really need introduction, but I feel like I have to do it. He is the Mr. Football for Ohio in 2025, which is crazy, or the 2024 season. He has the Ohio high school record for career touchdowns, and he's got so many other records. Not only that, he is a top-ranked student in his class, and he's a state champion, along with all of Indian Valley's 2024 season. And, man, I can't believe I got him in studio. Charlie already had him on the show, but we all know that he was looking forward to coming to be on the podcast with me. He laughs. But we'll also throw in there a 4.25 GPA. And he's a part of the National Honor Society, which I was not able to get on. But it's all good. At the end of the day, we got him in studio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Grady Kinsey.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's what's up. I'm glad you're able to find this place. We're tucked off in the cut. It's kind of hard to find us, but you did it. So you know, congrats. Winning Mr. Football. Was that something you thought about, or were you just like, I'm playing football and like that's crazy that it happened? What's it like being an Ohio Mr. Football? First of all,
yeah. So it was like my junior year. I kind of set out the goal to get it, and I ended up not achieving it my junior year, but I ended up being a finalist my junior year. So I was proud of that. And then this year, my goal was to win it.
Yeah,
and ended up doing that. But I didn't stress too much about it during the season, and I understood that if Coach Lank doesn't let me run for 300 yards against some team that we're beating 50-0, I'm not taking it personally.
True.
It wasn't a big deal to me, but I'm glad that we won it. And it's amazing that we did that from a small school and from an area that usually doesn't get that much recognition as far as awards like that. Yeah, T County.
Obviously we all know you guys were the first Tuscarawas County football team to win. And obviously, you're the first Tuscarawas County Mr. Football, so that is crazy. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know where you were in the votes last year, but this year, obviously, you won. But then the person with the second most votes, you're going to be playing with at the next level with the Air Force, Braden DeVito. How is that? Are you guys excited? Do you guys talk to each other? Did you know? You guys were committing to Air Force, or was it just a big coincidence? And then you just so happened, I'm assuming you guys talked to each other at the Mr. Football event?
Yeah, so he's been a good buddy of mine for a while. Actually, both trips I've been to Air Force, me and him were there together, I was there in June, and I was there also in November. We were both there at the same time, and it was a good time. And we were kind of just recruited by most all the same schools as far as like service academies, Ivy Leagues, some MAC schools, some FCS schools, stuff like that. And I remember I actually talked to him before because it was actually a smart play by our Air Force recruiting, his area. He recruited all of Ohio, a recruiting coach, and he hooked us up together and was like, hey, you need to talk to him. We want you both. And I'm like, oh, all right. And then we kind of knew that Mr. Football was probably going to be between one of us. So it was really an awesome thing. And either way, whether I won it and he's runner-up or he won it, I was runner-up, we were going to be happy because, we're going to the same place and everything. And it was really just a cool experience. And we're both proud of our accomplishments.
That's what's up. I mean, you know, having you said he was smart with the recruiting and kind of linking you two up. Does Air Force, do they recruit? Is there other Ohioans going to Air Force, or how does that work?
Yeah, I want to say there's like 5 or 6 kids.
Oh,
I mean, we got a wide receiver from Wadsworth. He's like a 10-6 guy in the 100.
Wow.
He's a pretty good player. And then we have one guy from Cincinnati, 2 guys from the Cleveland area.
Okay.
And then we have a guy from Bishop Hartley, a big lineman.
Okay. All right. So you better buddy up with him, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's what's up. No, man, that's so cool. I mean, you got all this going on. You're maintaining great grades. What's the rest of your senior year look like? Are you just chilling? Did you set it up to where you're like, all right, all my hard classes are out of the way. Now I can just focus on, getting my body right for the next level. What's the rest of your senior year look like?
Mm-hmm. So far, my senior year the whole thing's been pretty light because I feel like I'm running out of classes at the high school. Because like I kind of got pushed ahead with some of my classmates as far as taking the high level classes my junior year. So this year is definitely a lot easier than last year, but like you said, it's a lot with getting your body right, training. Obviously, I'm just recovering from I didn't tell you about this, but a small surgery. Just had it. It was December 10th or something, right after the season. But it was just something small. Recovered from it, and I'm back to training already. So that's definitely the main goal, like you said, is just get your body ready for the next level.
Yeah, I mean, me as, back then I was a quarterback and I had to get ready by reading the playbook. And let's just say I didn't prepare the best. Coaches were like, hey, we'll get you in with the ones right away. And I thought he was just blowing smoke. First day or 2 days, they're like, Garner, get in there. And I was like, uh-oh. And, that was just the start of, a little shoddy football career at Ball State. But yeah, man, that's awesome. And having that opportunity to focus on, you guys are way more advanced than when I was playing. We didn't have all these plans. I knew eating healthy was important, but we didn't know really how important it was. But yeah, so I'm glad to see you, taking care of your body and all that, taking care of the surgeries that you needed. And that's good. But all that kind of leads into something that I kind of focused on later in my baseball career, because I always thought, hey, if I get on the field and I perform, my confidence will grow with success. And then I quickly learned preparation is the only way to really, give yourself confidence. If you put in the work all week or all off season, whatever it is, whether it's school or sports, you're going to be confident, like, I'm ready for this test. I'm ready for this game. And it kind of, shocked me. And, I wish I would have knew that sooner, but that's how life is. But for you, preparation is, important. You can tell just looking at you that you prepare physically. But for you, how do you prepare yourself, on the daily basis, whether it's, I don't know if you're one of those people that, sit with your legs crossed and meditate, or just what do you do, to prepare yourself mentally and physically?
Yeah, preparation is a big thing for me. I'm not sitting around with my legs crossed, not yet. I haven't got into that, but yeah, it's a huge thing, and I can pay that respect to my family and my football family as well. Like Coach Lank is huge on this. A quote that he uses a lot of times is, if you're failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Mm-hmm. So we definitely take that to heart whenever he says that, and that's something that we think about that every single practice, every single weight room day, every single day out running on the field. And it was actually nice to see this morning was all the guys. It was a little sad too. They had their, morning liftings for the next football season already. So they're already in preparation for the next year. And, obviously me and the other seniors didn't get to go, but.
That's unfortunate. But, you got stuff ahead of you. Not everybody does, but, you got a bright future and, it's time to focus on that. But I can see, that moment where you're like, dang. Mm-hmm. They lifting without me,
Yeah, I mean it's a little nice not waking up at 5 o'clock, so getting able to sleep in. But
yeah, I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming your schedule at the next level is probably going to be a little rough, which we'll get into in a minute. But I want to talk about, balancing academics and, your sports schedule. You said you just woke up at 5, or you were waking up at 5 for Indian Valley. How were you someone that was like, soon as you got home from practice, you're just focusing, knocking out your homework so it can be out of the way? Or were you a procrastinator like me, wait until the last possible minute to knock out, whether it's studying for a test or getting that homework done right before class?
Yeah. So by nature,
don't lie. No, I'm just
by nature, I'm definitely a procrastinator like you.
Okay.
That's just how I am. But as far as whenever I had hard classes, such as, like we were talking about AP calculus and classes like college composition, classes like that last year, my junior year, I was definitely one of those guys that was, pretty steady with when I did my work and how I did my work. But now my senior year, I feel like sometimes I catch myself slipping, like, I'm waiting till the last minute to do something, and I tell myself, man, you cannot do this in college.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that is instilled in my family and my football family. Like I said before, they hold that very highly. I think, I'm not sure on the exacts for this, but it was something like we had the highest team GPA this past year than we ever had. So it's really important for us.
Yeah. I mean, that is an important thing. A lot of times it gets overlooked, especially when you win a state championship, but that probably has something to do with that. Obviously, you guys prepare physically, but if you're taking care of your schoolwork and your academics, most likely you're going to be taking care of your preparation on the field and, watching film and just knowing what your opponent's going to do. All those things kind of tying together. And, me and my family just watched Coach Carter. I don't know if you've watched that, but it's a basketball movie. And, it's like an inner city school, and Samuel L. Jackson's the coach. He takes over, and it's a good movie. It'll get you in the feels too a little bit, but for the most part, you're like, you probably can relate to it a lot, how the young kids are feeling in high school basketball. I don't know. They're known for losing, though. You guys are known for losing, but they turned the program around.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, like, specifically when you felt like, hey, Indian Valley, our program is.
Find a rewarding career close to home at Kimball. You'll find outstanding benefits, a supportive team, and opportunities for career growth. Working for a local family company really makes a difference. Apply today.
Aaron Kovalchik, attorney at law. Family court matters are important to you. You need an attorney that will listen to your concerns and execute a plan that will bring the results that you're looking for. That attorney is Aaron Kovalchik. For divorce or dissolution or custody, consult attorney Aaron Kovalchik. Inquire now at kovalchiklaw.com. That is www.kovalchiklaw.com.
Altman is here for you, in your community, because you matter. We're proud to be the area's first and only independent health system. We are one team, joined together and committed to one mission, to lead our community to improved health. And we've always been here, dedicated to providing you with the very best in care, wellness, education, insurance, and more. For your community and for your family, Altman is always here for you.
And I know we were talking before we were recording, and you said the Dover win last year was like a big win, but there was a point where Coach Lank's probably like, all right, we're on the come up, we're on the rise, and we're getting better every year. Can't wait to see where we get at this point. And again, following you guys, I was kind of late to it. I was one of those bandwagon fans, but once I saw you guys come to Dover and whoop us, I was like, dang, this team is for real. So, but for me, it's important, football, it's obviously important to you. You're going to the next level to play, but it is going to be challenging. But, just listening to you, the way I look at it, yes, you might be a procrastinator, but it's probably in stuff when it's important and it's a big test, you're not procrastinating.
Yeah.
But the typical stuff, you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing here. I can take care of this when I get around to it. But man, so Air Force and football is going to be, pretty much amazing. But the journey, you were talking about how sad it's going to be that you're not working out, but just talk about, your teammates winning state championships, how much it was important to you to do it at Indian Valley for that community, for Coach Lank, and just, your teammates. Because when I watched other interviews that you did, it would be easy for it to be like, yeah, I had all these yards. Even when you said you won Mr. Football, you said we. You said we. So obviously, the line of scrimmage or the offensive lineman has a big part of that too. But someone coming from someone who's never won a state championship, how does that feel to do it with, your friends, your buddies that you grew up with in a community that supports football and your sports program so well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's basically like you said, that's the best part, is doing it with the guys you played football with since you were, this tall and 9 years old, playing with these same guys. And it's really awesome how tight knit and interwoven our community is. Like Riker Williams, for example. I mean, my parents know his parents, his grandparents on both sides know both my grandparents on both sides. They all went to school together, and it's like awesome. Just one of those things. It's almost like a movie where they're playing football, like in a small town. So it's really awesome, and it's awesome to do it with even the guys that are younger and set an example for the younger guys, and also to bring it home for the guys that are alumni that help build the program and just, missed out on the time of success, which I feel for those guys, but it's awesome. It must be awesome to see the program that you went through and helped build succeeding like that, because it's really not like, it's not a complete start over every year. You kind of build off every single year. So, in that way, they very much contributed.
I've noticed that like a lot of the alumni and stuff that you're talking about, the top tier athletes, me, I'm not back coaching at Dover. We have some, we got Coach Reese, who was obviously a superstar at Dover and went on to play at Mount. But you guys, it seems like you guys have a lot of people that were good athletes, great athletes at Indian Valley who are coming back and giving their time and committing to the youth and trying to make their sports program, because it's not just, your varsity team the last few years that's been great. I've went to all the middle school games this year. You guys whooped up on us. And it's just different. You guys are tackling well. It's just the fundamentals of football that a lot of times get overlooked. And, when you're looking and you feel like, hey, this group isn't doing that well, and then you play a team and you see them do it well, you're like, man, like that's impressive. Because no one goes, man, those guys can really tackle. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're like, usually if a guy's standing out, you're like, wow, he's a hard hitter. Wow, that guy's fast. But that's the one thing I came watching, 7th and 8th grade Indian Valley. I was just like, man, these dudes, they really, usually you're seeing a couple broken tackles. It just wasn't happening. And I know that stems from people just, hey, man, I'm giving back to this Indian Valley program. And it's obviously you guys are reaping the benefits and it's showing. And it's just, it's one of those things where I'm like, man, this is dope. Mm-hmm. I don't want to keep losing though to Indian Valley. So you guys can win every other game, but Dover, we got to come out on top one of these times. But no, I'm trying to avoid, because I want to talk about, Dover, Indian Valley all this time. But it's I do admire you guys in your program and what you guys are doing. But football, you love it. When did you realize, like, all right, I love this game and I'm dedicating my life to this game?
Yeah, so growing up, I was always – it's funny. Whenever I started playing football, I played offensive guard. And the funny part is our offensive coordinator was my head coach whenever I was in Pee Wee. Really? And I think that ties a lot back into, what you were saying with the success of our program is, the classes surrounding me along with my class were coached essentially by varsity coaches. And that's really an awesome thing. But like you said, I grew up and then I started playing fullback as I got older, scoring some touchdowns, and I liked it. And it wasn't until I started getting into middle school, probably 7th, 8th grade, where I started playing tailback and started running the ball a lot. And there was a year, my 8th grade year, where I kind of, broke out. I started lifting weights the summer before, and I kind of just blew up. And it was right at that time where I was a growing boy, and I was just, growing, becoming a man.
I'm pretty good at this thing, man.
Yeah. I got into 8th grade, and we played 8 games, and I had 40 touchdowns in 8 games, and I was like, yeah, I am pretty good.
That's what's up.
And then since then, like, football's my main thing. It's, the first thought of, where I'm going in life and, my purpose of what I'm trying to get better at every day. Was football from that point on.
I mean, and also, I'm not trying to put a lot of weight on your shoulders, but you'll notice at some point, which you might have already noticed, with the youth programs that, kids in Indian Valley and all of Tuscarawas County, even beyond, are, looking up to you. And you said, it's a focus of yours to make sure you're setting an example for the younger guys. And like you said, it's not rebuilding every year. You're just building on top of what you guys just did. And I think that's all true. And I think it's important. And, good thing that they've got a role model like you and some other athletes in Indian Valley that it should be pretty exciting future. But for, those who are wondering what it's going to be like, who maybe have dreams of playing at the next level, I know you're excited. You feel like, hey, I've accomplished everything I could pretty much. And obviously you would have loved to win another state championship, but one is great. Not many people get to win those. So, but, going into Air Force, I guess I'll start with what even made you choose Air Force? Was it, that person who was recruiting and getting you and Braden together and kind of, you guys going on visits together and everything? Was it that, or was it, I'm assuming there's other factors involved as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they were kind of a little bit later into recruiting me. So I started being recruited during my junior year. I was having that year, and it was week 10 I picked up my first offer. It was Toledo in the MAC. And then through that time, I picked up a few more offers from the MAC right after the
season. Did Ball State offer you? Did Ball State offer?
Oh, no, sir, they did not. I didn't hear from Ball State.
Come on. No, it's all good. It's all good.
And then through then, I started to get recruited by, some Ivy Leagues. And then it wasn't until the spring until the military academy started recruiting me. And I started going on visits to visit some of the MAC schools. I liked it there. Didn't quite think I fit in at the Ivy League schools. Like that just wasn't my thing. Like I'm an academic guy, but it just wasn't my thing. Yeah. And then I also felt like, man, I have this opportunity to go to a prestigious school, like schools in the Ivy League. And I feel like I would be kind of doing that a disservice if I went to a school in the MAC. I'd be like missing an opportunity. But then started going on visits to the service academies. I'm like, man, this is good football. But it's also, it's a prestigious school like an Ivy League. Yeah. So it was like a perfect middle ground for me. I knew I was a service academy guy, and I was getting recruited by both Army and Air Force, and decided on Air Force because the coaches held me as a priority. I love those coaches, love the area, love the players that went there. It was really just the best option for me, and I'm so blessed to be able to say I'm going to go be a Falcon at the United States Air Force Academy.
That's what's up. And my father was in the Air Force as well. He didn't play football. He went to Kent State.
Oh, yeah?
Which I was heartbroken when they didn't offer me a scholarship for football or baseball. It was, I'm still kind of upset about it. But but no, that's awesome, going through that experience. And, it can be hard trying to choose what college and where you're going to spend your next part of your life. But it seems like you're confident in your decision, and I'm excited for you. But you're going to Air Force. You're going to be playing with some people from Ohio. It's a prestigious school. All the things that you stated before. What are you most excited about when you get to Air Force?
The thing I'm most excited about is obviously football. I'm a football guy, but also I'm big into the military stuff. I think. What they do is pretty cool. I know you heard about Venezuela and all that. Yeah. I've been nerding out all day at school with we got a substitute teacher that he was an Army guy. He was in Special Forces, and it's fun to talk to him about military stuff, and also my history teacher. So that was a big topic for the day. Cool. So I'm definitely into all that stuff. That's cool. And it's a big mathematics school. I'm a math guy too, so. I'm really just excited for all three aspects as far as football, military, and school. So it's really just going to be a good time.
What are you majoring in?
Management.
Oh, okay. See, I was a math guy too. I wanted to be a math teacher, but ended up playing baseball. But math was my focus. So that's good to hear. Now I kind of before we wrap up the show, I just want to kind of hear from you. Some advice, I guess, say it's, and I want to give specific. I don't want to just say, hey, there's kids out there that want to play football at the next level. What are you going to tell them? Say it's a kid who, maybe is, doing well freshman, sophomore year, had played varsity, put up good numbers, and they just haven't got any calls yet. They haven't got any traction. They're getting letters, but nothing substantial that's saying, hey, we're interested, and maybe, you having a future with us and maybe getting a scholarship. In your position, your freshman, sophomore year, was that even in your mind at that point? Or were you kind of in that position where you're like, man, like, what's going on? Why am I not getting any? Because you said you got your first offer during your junior year.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess question number one, what would you tell an athlete, specifically football, who's in that position? They just completed their sophomore year. They've broken some records. Their team did well, and just nothing yet, no traction yet. What would you kind of give them?
Yeah, so I was in that exact boat. That's exactly how I was coming out of my sophomore year. I had gotten some of those like camp invite letters, and I'm like, I get all excited, open them up, be like, oh man, they want, and they did not want me at that time. And I think a big thing, I took a huge jump. That was the biggest jump I did from my sophomore to my junior year. And I credit that a lot to just selling out for football, as far as, it's good to do sports, multiple sports all the way up through. It's great. But in my case in particular, it became where I had to stop wrestling in the winter so I could go train at +2 with Caden Richmond and them guys. Yep. And that's what drove me over the edge, was taking that time out of the winter and having a full off season where I can train for 9 or so months for the next football season and really sell out and upgrade my body, upgrade my speed, upgrade my strength, all that. That's what drove me over the edge and got me to the point where I was able to be recruited as an athlete.
See, I love that advice, just because it's just your honest take on what you did.
Yeah.
And I'll say I had my issue is I knew football and baseball were two sports that I had the potential to play at the next level. Baseball more so than football. But I loved basketball so much. I just couldn't quit. And my homies were all playing, and it was like a thing. And I don't think about it like, man, if I could have, just got rid of one and focused on two, or like you focused on one. I know a lot of kids do that nowadays. But you did that, after your sophomore year?
After my sophomore year. Yeah. And like I said, it is very important, I believe, to play multiple sports growing up, just to learn foundational skills. Like whenever you talk about our youth program tackling, I mean, I think we have a good wrestling team in our youth program. So I think that plays into it. I think just the balance of wrestling, and also, I played baseball growing up, the hand-eye coordination of playing baseball, and, basketball, you got to be able to get up and, play above the rim and stuff like that. So it's definitely important to build your foundation on a bunch of different movements from different sports. But at least for me, for a guy that's not, a natural, like, super freak athlete, I had to take a portion of time out of, the winter and spring months, and I had to just train hard. That's what I had to do. I don't believe I would have been really recruited or had the success that I had in high school if I would have went through and played all the sports I played my whole life. I felt like I would have been spread too thin and not focused on, my main thing, which was football.
Yeah, I appreciate that answer. I mean, it's, I won't harp on it too much, but I think it's important that you did share that. And, I might not be a fan of it too early, but, at a certain point, like you said, at a certain point, you have to figure out, okay, I have to sell out if I want to play at the next level. And because what percentage of us are just naturally crazy gifted athletically, where you can, kind of just mosey in and get these crazy offers? Not many, especially from our area. You have to kind of dedicate yourself. And I'm glad you also shared that too, because that's important for, young people to hear. And yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of all I really wanted to talk to you about. And, I wish you the best of luck. And I guess the one thing I usually do on my own podcast, but I haven't really been recording on there, I'll do it here. I just do like some quick questions that, maybe, someone out there might be intrigued to know certain little stupid questions about you. So, well, I guess we'll start with this one. This isn't like you get an answer really quick or anything like that, but just, what are some other hobbies you do outside of training and playing football and, talking about, military stuff? Because I like military stuff too, but I'm too much of a wimp to do any of that in real life. I just stick to my computer gaming, and maybe one day I'll own, a firearm, but, I like when I can just press a button and come back to life. So.
Yeah. Nice, yeah.
But is there anything outside, hunting? What do you do in your free time if you have any?
Yeah, I fish a little bit in the summer, but like you said, football's a big thing for me. Lifting's a big thing for me. And I spend a lot of time with my family, and I don't even realize it. But once I start thinking about it, I'm like, man, I just sat downstairs in my parents' basement and talked to them for 2 hours. And
that's what's up.
Yeah.
I bet they appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're probably looking at you like, man, you're a man now. You're about to leave us. Like, I'm at least your mom is probably.
Yeah, my mom. My dad, he care less.
Well, he puts that out there, but deep down, he's probably like, dang, Grady's leaving. But now, how far is it to Air Force? Because what is it? How many hours? Is it you drive or fly?
I fly.
Fly, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I fly, it's 3 hours, but then there's a time difference. So then it's it's really like 1 hour.
True. Oh, dang. I did like being out in Arizona because, the time change and, it's almost like you gain hours for a little bit.
Going there is nice and coming back.
Oh, yeah, that is. Yeah, that's tough. Well, we'll make sure we include, your social media, stuff like that, so people can follow you on your journey when you go to Air Force. Anything else you want to share? Anything else you got left to say?
No, sir. Thanks for having me.
Well, appreciate you, joining us, Grady. We'll all be following and watching you and wishing you good luck. And, we can't wait to see what you do. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and, stay tuned. We got action, live streams, all the games that you need. We got all different type of commentators. You won't see me there doing any live commentary at any of the games, just because I'm awful at it. But, we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.